Ever get the feeling we're all kind of living in a dream? Not like fluffy unicorns and rainbows, but more like a shared dream, where we all just agree on the rules without even realizing it.
Hmm, I know what you mean.
Well, today we're diving deep into a book that gets right into that, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's all about how to break free from those invisible rules and step into, well, a more joyful and free life.
And what I find so interesting about this book is how it's not just some airy philosophy. Ruiz, he draws from this ancient Toltec wisdom tradition to give us like practical tools to actually dismantle those unconscious agreements and start writing our own scripts.
Okay, so let's break down this shared dream idea a little. I mean, is Ruiz saying we're all stuck in the Matrix or something?
It's not quite that sci-fi, though it can feel that way sometimes. Think of it more like this. We're born into this movie, right? But we didn't write the script. That script, with all its expectations and fears, that's what Ruiz calls our domestication. Like being handed a role and told, this is you, this is all you can be, don't step outside these lines.
And that domestication, it starts early, doesn't it? I mean,
Mm.
from day one, we're told how the world works, what to believe, even how to feel.
Exactly. And those messages from our parents, teachers, everyone, they become our own beliefs. We're told who we are, what to fear, what we're good at, and we soak it all up.
And it's not always malicious, right? It's not like people are intentionally trying to limit us. But even those well-intentioned messages, they become the lens we use to see the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we've unknowingly invited a parasite into our minds. This parasite, as Ruiz calls it, is the judge-victim belief system. It feeds on self-doubt, on blame, on needing to be right, always whispering, you're not good enough, not worthy, you don't deserve happiness.
Whoa. Okay, that's a powerful image. So if this parasite is calling the shots up there, how do we even begin to break free?
Well, that's where the four agreements come in. They're like antidotes to that parasite. They offer a real practical path to, dismantle those old fear-based agreements and cultivate a healthier way of being.
Okay, so let's get into the first agreement. And it's a big one. Be impeccable with your word. I'll admit, when I first read that, I thought, okay, so be polite, got it. But Ruiz, he digs way deeper than that, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. You see, the Toltecs, the ancient culture where Ruiz gets these teachings, they understood words as this powerful energy, an energy that could heal or harm.
Right, like think about a time someone said something that really hurt you. Or the flip side, when someone's words lifted you up.
Exactly. And the thing is, we all possess that same power.
Hmm.
Every word we speak, even the ones we just think to ourselves, they have the power to shape our reality.
Ruiz even uses the terms black magic and white magic when he's talking about language, right?
Yeah, and he's not talking about spells and potions. Black magic is how we carelessly throw out hurtful words, gossip, criticism, judgment, without a thought to the impact. And white magic is consciously using our words to heal, to transform.
He gives this really powerful example in the book about a mother who silences her daughter's singing with a careless remark. Years later, that daughter, now an adult, still believes her voice is ugly. Just goes to show you, words have a way of sticking with us.
And that's what's so important about this first agreement.
Yeah.
It all comes back to understanding the power we have with our words. Like, every word is a seed.
So how do we actually become more mindful of both what we say out loud and that constant chatter in our own heads?
It starts with just noticing, tuning into that inner voice. Are we always criticizing ourselves, stuck in those negative thought loops? Because if we are, that's like self-inflicted black magic right there.
Right, like we've internalized that Judge Reese talks about,
Mhm.
that inner critic that's always ready to pounce.
Right.
And the more we believe those thoughts, the more power we give them.
Exactly. The first agreement is about seeing those patterns and making a conscious choice to shift them. Like, what if instead of those harsh judgments, we offered ourselves some kindness, some encouragement?
Instead of water in the weeds of self-doubt, we start nurturing like the seeds of possibility.
Yeah, exactly. And that shift, that choice to use our words for good, it extends to how we talk to others too. It's about honesty, sure, but with kindness, with that deep respect for the power our words hold.
It makes me think about how often I just react without thinking, especially when I'm hurt or angry. Which leads us perfectly to the second agreement, right? Don't take anything personally.
Yeah, now this one can be huge. Think about it, how many fights, hurt feelings, grudges could we just sidestep if we truly got this one?
It's so easy to feel personally attacked, even when it's not intended that way.
Because we walk around thinking we're at the center of everyone's universe, that everything people do or say is about us. Ruiz calls this personal importance, like this illusion that we're the main character in everyone else's story.
And of course, if we believe that, we're going to get our feelings hurt, because then if someone criticizes us, it must be because we messed up. Someone disagrees, they must not value us.
And just like that, we're hooked, trapped in this web of insecurity, all because we decided someone else's actions define our worth.
It's so freeing, though, when you remember most of the time how other people act has very little to do with us. Ruiz has this analogy in the book about how we're each living in our own personal dream, like a movie where we're the director, the star, everything.
Right. And just like in the movies, those supporting characters, they've
Mhm.
got their own motivations, their own whole backstories that have nothing to do with us. They're living out their own dreams, dealing with their own stuff.
But when we take things personally, it's like we're letting those side characters take over our whole movie. Suddenly, they're dictating our emotional state.
It all comes back to recognizing the difference between what we can control, our own thoughts, feelings, actions, and what we can't, everyone else's.
And it's like we create all this drama in our heads just from assuming we know what other people are thinking.
Oh, totally. We get so caught up in our own interpretations, it's like we forget reality even exists.
Exactly. Which, of course, leads us right to the third agreement: don't make assumptions.
Ah, yeah, this one's huge. I mean, think about how often we just invent stories about what other people are thinking or feeling. And then we base our reactions on those stories, not on anything real.
Ruiz has this great example in the book about seeing someone smile at you in the mall, and suddenly, boom, you've decided it's the start of a whirlwind romance.
Right. And the thing is, it's so easy to get swept away by those fantasies, especially in relationships. But as Ree says, those assumptions usually lead to misunderstandings, arguments, a whole lot of unnecessary pain.
Because when those assumptions don't pan out, we feel betrayed, let down. We end up blaming other people for not living up to expectations we invented.
Exactly. Instead of just saying, hey, I made an assumption there, we dig in our heels, gotta be right, even if it wrecks the relationship.
So how do we get out of that trap, this assumption trap?
Honestly, it's simpler than we think. Ask questions. Sounds so basic, right? But we're often terrified to ask for clarification.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like that whole, if you really knew me, you wouldn't need to ask.
And that, my friend, is a recipe for disaster. No one's a mind reader, thinking people should just know our needs and wants. That's just setting ourselves up for disappointment.
So this agreement, it's really about being more open and honest in all our relationships.
Exactly. It's about creating that safe space where we can just say what we need, what we want, without fear of judgment, and where we're just as open to hearing what the other person needs.
Imagine how much less conflict there'd be if we all just paused to ask a few more questions. So we've talked about choosing our words carefully, not taking things personally, and challenging those assumptions. But how do we actually put this all into practice day after day? And that brings us to the last agreement, right? Always do your best.
This one, it's the foundation for all the others. It's about remembering this is a journey, not a race to the finish line.
It's not about being perfect all the time. Because like Ruiz says, some days our best is going to look different than others, right?
Absolutely. And that's more than okay.
Yeah.
The point is, let go of that need to judge ourselves. Just focus on showing up fully with whatever you've got in that moment.
He tells that story about the man who asks a Buddhist master, "How long will it take to reach enlightenment if I meditate for 4 hours a day?" And the master says, "Maybe 10 years." But then the man asks, "What if I meditate 8 hours a day?" And the master replies, "Maybe 20."
It's such a good reminder that it's not about how hard we push, but about the quality of our effort. Like, are we enjoying the journey or just focused on the destination?
So it's not about exhausting ourselves. It's about bringing that mindful intention to everything we do, even the little things.
And when you know you've shown up fully, given it your all, man, there's freedom in that. No matter the outcome, you can rest easy.
This agreement, always do your best, it kind of ties everything together.
For sure.
Hmm.
When we're doing our best, we're naturally going to be more mindful of our words, less likely to take things personally, more willing to question those assumptions.
It's like this upward spiral of positive change, Each agreement supports and strengthens the others.
That's the thing about the four agreements. It's not a rule book. It's more like a framework for living with more intention, more integrity, and yeah, more joy too.
Ruiz, he invites us to dream a new dream, one where we're not held back by those old fears and limiting beliefs. And these four agreements, those are the keys to unlocking that freedom, to create a life that truly reflects who we are deep down.
So as you go about your day, remember, your words have power. Let go of the need to take things personally. Question those assumptions. And most importantly, always do your best, knowing that is always enough.
The four agreements, it's a powerful reminder that real change, lasting change, it starts within each of us. And by shifting that internal dialogue, well, we can transform how we relate to ourselves and to the entire world. It's a journey worth taking, one agreement, one choice, one moment at a time.